Hello and welcome to the Pearson Edexcel GCSE June 2023 Mathematics Paper 2 calculator paper for the Foundation Tier walkthrough. Let's get right into it. So, question 1. Write 6,184 correct to the nearest 100. 6,184 is only 16 away from 6,200, which would be the nearest 100. Question 2. Write 0.7 as a fraction. So 0.7 is the same as 7 over 10. You can check that on your calculator in the exam if you needed to. So 7 out of 10 is our answer. Question 3. Change 9 meters into centimeters. So we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 9 meters is going to be 900 centimeters. Question 4. Simplify 3 times 4t. We simply just have to multiply the numbers together and put the t afterwards. So this will just be 12t, as 3 times 4 is 12. And question 5. Here is a list of numbers. One of these numbers is a multiple of 25. Which number? I'll write down the multiples of 25, 25, 50, 75, 100. As you can see, the only number that matches up is 100. On to question 6. Shari has a fair ordinary die. She rolls the dice once. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that Shari gets the number 7. Well, you can't get the number 7 on an ordinary dice, so the probability is going to be 0. Part B. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that Shari gets an even number. So you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It's a fair die. Half the numbers are even. We mark half on the diagram. On to question 7. Here is a triangle. The triangle is accurately drawn. Part A, measure the length of AC. So I'm doing this on an iPad, so I don't have a ruler and protractor that I can use that will match up against your paper, but what you'll need to do is get your ruler and line it up just here. Poorly drawn ruler as usual. And just make sure your 0 is on A, and then whatever C is will be your answer. And the mark scheme accepts a couple of centimeters either way, and the answer is 9.3 centimeters. Part B, measure the size of angle B. So what you're going to want to do is get your protractor, and I will just draw a protractor on here. And then your angle is going to be this here, so you will follow the protractor from 0 all the way up to whatever this line is here, and you will be able to see that it is over 90 degrees. So if you've got less than 90 degrees, you may have picked the wrong number, because 90 degrees will be about, badly drawn, but about there. So you should have 106 degrees. And again, the mark scheme offers a bit of leeway either way. Part C, here is a different triangle. QP equals QR. Write down the mathematical name of this triangle. As the side lengths are the same for QP and QR, this is an isosceles triangle. Question number 8. The diagram shows 3 motorway service stations, P, Q, and R on a map. The map has a scale of 1 centimeter equals 4 kilometers. Work out the real distance from P to R. So the distance from P to Q is 8 centimeters, and we're told that 1 centimeter is 4 kilometers. Therefore, 32 kilometers would be 8 centimeters. Q to R is 16 centimeters, which is double 8, so this will be double. Therefore, P to R is going to be 32 plus 64, which is 96 kilometers. Question number 9. Here are the first 5 terms of a sequence. Write down the next term of this sequence. So if you look, we are adding 5 for each number in this sequence. So the next term will be 5 added on to 23, which is going to be 28. Part B. Write down the ratio of the second term to the fourth term. Give your ratio in its simplest form. So the second term is 8, the fourth term is 18. So the ratio is 8 to 18. Both these numbers divide by 2. 4, 9. And we can't simplify that any further. Question number 10. This graph can be used to find the cost of parking a car in a car park for up to 12 hours. Use the graph to find the cost of parking a car for 4 hours. So number of hours runs along the bottom, so 4 hours is here, and all we'll do is we'll go up from 4 to here on the graph, and we'll run across from there, and you can see that will be £6. Part B. Justin drives into the car park at 8 in the morning. When he drives out of the car park, he has to pay £9. At what time does Justin drive out of the car park? So we'll go up the same way. We'll go £9. And we'll follow this down. So we know he has been in the car park for 6 hours. So I'll write 6 hours in car park. And he drove in at 8 o'clock this morning. So 8 o'clock plus 6 hours is 1400 hours, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Question 11. The table shows information about the weights of the people in a hotel lift. Show that the total weight of people in the lift is less than 1200 kilograms. So what we have to do here is we need to multiply the weight by the number of people for each line and then add them all up. So I've got my calculator at the ready. So the first line is going to be 40 times 1, which is just 40. 50 times 2 is 100. 60 times 4, 240. 70 times 5, 350. 80 times 3, 240. And 90 times 1 is 90. So total equals 40 plus 100 plus 240 plus 350 plus 240 plus 90. I'm going to put that into my calculator. (1,060 kilograms). So less than 1200 kilograms as required. Question 12. Shape A is reflected in a mirror line to give shape B. On the grid, draw the mirror line. So we can see that this point here has been reflected to this point here. This point here has been reflected to this point here. And this point here has been reflected by this point here. So we need to draw a line that's perpendicular to all 3 of these lines here. So our mirror line is going to be just here. We also need to make sure that our mirror line is the same distance away from both shapes. So as you can see, there's 1 square here, 1 square here, 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2 and a half here. So that will be our mirror line. Part B. Alex is asked to reflect shape P in the x-axis. Here is the diagram Alex draws. Explain the mistake Alex has made. That is not the x-axis that he has reflected it in. He has reflected it in the y-axis. Alex has reflected in the y-axis. Question 13. There are 50 teachers in a school. This is 1/16 of the total number of people in the school. Work out the total number of people in the school. So if 1/16 equals 50, then 16 out of 16 equals 16 times 50. And I'll do that on my calculator. That will be 800 people. Question 14. Packets of sweets are put into boxes. Each packet is a cuboid with those dimensions. Each box is a cuboid with those dimensions. Work out the greatest number of packets that can be put into each box. First thing I'm going to do is convert these to the same unit. So 8mm is 8 centimeters, 6mm is 6 centimeters, 20mm is 2 centimeters. So 8 goes into 72 9 times. So we can get 8 along the width. Then 6 goes into 48 8 times. I've written 8 here, that should be a 9, my apologies. 6 goes into 48 8 times, so 8 along the depth, which is along here. So we're going to say, let's draw on this diagram, we're going to go 9 boxes there, 8 boxes there, and 2 goes into 24 12 times, so we can get 12 along the height, which is up here. Therefore, total is going to be 9 times 8 times 12, which I'll put in my calculator, and my answer is 864. 864. Question 15. Here is a fair ordinary dice and a fair 8-sided spinner. Charlie throws the dice once and the spinner once. Is Charlie more likely to get a number less than 3 on the dice or a number greater than 5 on the spinner? So, less than 3 is going to be 1 or 2, which is 2 out of 6. Greater than 5, he can get 6, 7, or 8, which is 3 out of 8. So is 2 out of 6 bigger than 3 out of 8? So let's give them a common denominator. So both 6 and 8 go into 48. So we're going to say 2 over 6 is the same as 8 times 2 over 8 times 6, which equals 16 over 48. And 3 over 8 is the same as 3 times 6 over 8 times 6, which is 18 over 48. What is more likely? More likely, just scroll down. Probability higher for the spinner, so more likely. Moving on. Question 16. Paolo drives at an average speed of 56 kilometers per hour for 1 hour 45 minutes. Work out the distance Paolo drives. So, for this, we basically need to do 56 times 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. So 1 3/4 hours is 56 times 1.75, I'll put that in my calculator. And the answer is 98 kilometers. Question 17. There are 3 cinemas, A, B, and C. The mean number of seats per cinema is 380. There are 350 seats in cinema A, 250 seats in cinema B. Work out the number of seats in cinema C. So the mean is going to be A plus B plus C over 3, 380 by definition of the mean. Therefore, A plus B plus C equals 3 times 380. I'll put that in my calculator, and I get 1140. We know that A is 350, we know that B is 250, therefore 350 plus 250 plus C equals 1140. Therefore, C equals 1140 minus 250 minus 350, and once again, I'll put that in my calculator, 250 minus 350, and we get C equals 540 seats. 540. Question 18. Asher buys 180 cans of cola. The cans are sold in packs. There are 12 cans in each pack, and each pack costs £3. Work out the total cost of the cola Asher buys. So she buys 120 cans and 12 per pack. So 180 over 12 packs. And I'll put that in my calculator. 15 packs. Each pack's £3. Therefore, 15 times £3 is £45. Part B. Ethan buys a box of 24 cans of lemonade for £7. There are 330 millilitres of lemonade in each can. Work out the cost of 100 millilitres of lemonade. Give your answer correct to the nearest penny. So, if we say he has bought 24 cans for £7, therefore £7 over 24 equals the price of 1 can. So 7 divided by 24 on my calculator is going to be £0.29 or 29p. So 29p is for 330 millilitres. To get to 100 millilitres, we need to do 330 divided by 3.3 equals 100. So if we do 29p divided by 3.3, we get the price of 100 millilitres. So 29 divided by 3.3 on my calculator is 8.78p. Give your answer correct to the nearest penny, 9p. Moving on. Question 19. 240 people work at a factory. Of these people, 150 have a car, 110 have a bicycle, 65 of the people who have a bicycle do not have a car. Use this information to complete the frequency tree. So, make sure we can see it. 150 have a car. Therefore, 90 do not have a car, as it's 240 total people. 65 of the people who have a bicycle do not have a car. Have a bicycle, do not have a car, 65. Therefore, the remaining amount of the 90 must be 25. And we then know that 110 have a bicycle. So 110 minus 65 equals 45, which are the remaining people that have a bicycle and a car. So 45 goes there, and then the remaining gap is going to be 150 minus 45, which is 105. Part B. What percentage of the 150 people who have a car also have a bicycle? Who have a car also have a bicycle. So out of the 150, it's going to be 45 divided by 150. Have a car, also have a bicycle. So that is just going to be, if we divide both top and bottom by 5, that's 9 over 30. And we didn't need to do that really, but if we put in our calculator 9 over 30, that is the same as 0.3, which is the same as 30%. Question 20. Work out the value of that lovely equation. Write down all the figures on your calculator display. So what I'm going to do first is the square root of 43.87. So I'm going to say 25 minus, and I've put that in my calculator. I've now got 6.623443213 over 6 plus 2.1 squared. Now I'm going to leave that number on my calculator display, and I'm going to do 25 minus the answer. So I've still got a nice long number. It's now 18.3765569 over 6 plus 2.1 squared. I'm going to leave my answer on there again, and I'm just going to press divide, and then in brackets, to make sure I do this bit first, I'm doing 6 plus 2.1 squared in brackets and dividing by that. So I've got 1.76527923. So to recap, I've done this first, then I've done 25 minus the answer as step 2. Then in step 3, I've done the answer divided by 6 plus 2.1 squared. And our answer is 1.76527923. Part B. Work out the value of the reciprocal of 0.625. That is just going to be 1 divided by 0.625. And again, put that in your calculator. And you get 8 over 5. Or in decimals like the question is given, 1.6. Question 21. Write 60 as a product of its prime factors. So I'm going to do a factors tree. 60 is made up of 2 times 30, 2 is prime. 30 is made up of 2 times 15, 2 is prime. 15 is made up of 3 times 5, both prime. So 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Question 22. There are 48 counters in a bag. There are only red counters and blue counters in the bag. The number of red counters compared to the number of blue counters is 1 to 2. Helen has to work out how many red counters are in the bag. She says there are 24 in the bag because 1 is half of 2 and 24 is half of 48. Is Helen correct? No. So the ratio 1 to 2 means that there are twice as many blue counters as there are red, and the total of the bag for both colours combined is 48. So must be 16 red, and 32 blue. Question 23. N is between 5 and greater than or equal to minus 2. N is an integer. Write down the greatest possible value of n. So that will just be the highest integer less than 5, so 4. Part B. On the number line below, show the inequality minus 4 is less than or equal to m, which is less than 1. So minus 4 is here, and we're going to shade it in as it's less than or equal to. And we go all the way to 1, and we'll do a circle here, and we don't shade it in because it is just less than. And we're done. Part C. Solve 2 over 5g minus 4 is less than 6. So we just need to get g on its own in this equation, this inequality. So 2 over 5g minus 4 is less than 6. Therefore, 2 over 5g is less than 10, as we've added 4 to both sides. Therefore, 2g is less than 50, as we've times both sides by 5. Therefore, g is less than 25, as we've divided both sides by 2. Moving on. Question 24. Here is a triangle and a rectangle. All measurements are in centimetres. The area of the triangle is 10 centimetres greater than the area of the rectangle. Work out the value of x. So, area of triangle equals 6x multiplied by 8 over 2, which is going to be 48x over 2, which is going to be 24x. Area of rectangle is going to be 5 times 4x minus 1, which is 20x minus 5. Just scroll down a little bit. We know area of triangle equals area of rectangle plus 10. Therefore, 24x equals 20x minus 5 plus 10. Therefore, if we bring all the x's onto one side, 4x equals 5. X equals 5 over 4 by dividing both sides by 4, which is just 1.25. Question 25. Last year, a family recycled 800 kilograms of household waste. 57% of this waste was paper and glass. The weight of paper recycled, ratioed with the weight of glass recycled, is 12 to 7. Calculate the weight of the glass the family recycled. So, 57% of 800 is paper and glass, and that is going to be 0.57 times 800, which I'm doing on my calculator, 456 kilograms. Now, we know the ratio here is 12 to 7, which means 12 over 12 plus 7 as a fraction of the 456 kilograms is paper, and 7 over 12 plus 7 of, I can't even write the 7, of 456 is glass. So we want the glass. So 7 over 12 plus 7 is 19 times 456 kilograms. It's going to be our glass. Let's do this on the calculator. 7 divided by 19 times 456 is 168 kilograms. Question 26. A number D is rounded to 1 decimal place. The result is 12.7. Complete the error interval for D. So it's going to be rounded up from 12.65 inclusive and down from 12.75 not inclusive. Question 27. Tamsin buys a house with a value of £150,000. The value of Tamsin's house increases by 4% each year. Rachel buys a house with a value of £160,000. The value of Rachel's house increases by 1.5% each year. At the end of 2 years, whose house has the greater value? So Tamsin, 150,000. If it's increasing by 4%, we multiply by 1.04, which is 1 plus 4% per year. So we're going to multiply it by 1.04 twice, and we're going to do this on the calculator. 150,000 times 1.04 times 1.04 again is 162,240. And Rachel has 160,000 times 1.015, which is 1 plus 1.5%. And we'll do it again. And again, calculator. 160,000 times 1.015 times 1.015 again gives you 164,836. Therefore, Rachel's house has greater value. And I believe this is the final question. It is. So question 28. Here are 5 graphs. The table shows the equations of these graphs. Match a letter of each graph with its equation. So we'll start with the first one. Y equals x squared minus 4x. We know this is going to be an equation with 2 roots. Therefore, it's going to cross the x-axis at 2 points. And there is only one graph that crosses the x-axis at 2 points. It crosses it at 0, and it would cross it at 4. So that is going to be graph B. Then we've got, y equals x plus 3, which is every x coordinate plus 3 is going to give you the y coordinate. So if x is 0, that means y will be 3. So are there any of these equations where x is 0 and y is 3? So we want x-axis to be 0 and y to be 3. So that one works, and so does this one here, potentially. We don't know what these are. It's obviously not got any labels on it. So what we'll also find is that we know that when y is going to be 0, x will have to be minus 3 for that to work. So the only one that can work for, so y would be 0, x minus 3, and then for this one at the top, if y is 0, x is going to be something like 2 for this one. So the answer for the next one must be D. D. So the next one, y equals x cubed minus 2. If we say x equals 0 on this one, then we know y equals minus 2. So are there any of these where x is 0 and y equals minus 2? Lo and behold, there's only one, because there's no negative y-intercept for D, or for A, or for B, or for C. So we don't have to go any further with the cube one. That's going to be E. Y equals 1 over x. We know, based on using what we've just done for all the other ones, this is the only equation where you can't have x as 0, because as soon as you make x 0, y becomes infinite. So we know that it can never touch the x-axis. All the rest of these all touch the x-axis, but this one doesn't. It just goes on forever over here. So that one must be C. And by powers of deduction, that must be A, but we'll check it anyway. So as we did with the other ones, we'll say x equals 0. Therefore, y would equal 5. And we'll just check that it works for A. When x is 0, y equals 5. That works. And we'll say when y is 0, we will have minus 2x equals, we have 0 equals 5 minus 2x. Therefore, 2x equals 5. Therefore, x equals 5 over 2. For y is 0. Does that work for A? Is it reasonable? It absolutely is. That could well be 5 over 2. So that brings us to the end of another exam paper. Hopefully that was helpful for you. If you've got any questions, as usual, pop them in the comments and I'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.